Jerome Wright here, and you're joining me on my Jerome Wright YouTube channel, formerly known as the Jeronification channel. I'm doing a discovery of mine that I've been dwelling over for a few days here. I've actually been finding other things with regards to it, so I'm just going to be adding some things in and trying to make this video as good and great as many of my other videos are. Alright, this is a map of the Red Sea. I made this discovery by going into a paranormal state of being, or state of mind as I call it, and I have these experiences and encounters. I was thinking about Moses and the crossing or parting of the Red Sea. Also, not only just that, with that, also I had an experience regarding Moses receiving the 10 Commandments, or the tablets, the 2 stone tablets up on Mount Sinai, which is all together in one. So you can look out for that video. I'll try to get that video out in about a week or so. I've been kind of slow here on my videos because I got my little guy here that I got to take care of. So that's actually been putting me back in what I wanted, materials I want to post online. All right, so I want to show you some things here. It's my position that these land masses dealing with the continent of Africa, the continent of US, and many other continents in our world here, that these are massive carvings. These almost like the NASA lines, but on a much megalithic scale. It's my position that we evolved out of the seas of our world, and through that evolving onto land. We once resided in these waters as intelligent existences which knew how to sophisticatedly evolve onto land and through the bodies of other creatures in the form of something almost like something you see in so much as far as in the crazy movie like The Body Snatchers, where one person is snatching another person's body. In these cases, it was actually the oceanic creatures of our world, through to the dinosaurs and many other creatures which we came into existence of man. Now, this may sound bizarre and unusual to you, but people, we have almost over 200 some odd strands of DNA or DNA codes in our body that we don't use. So, that's almost consistent with the many of times, and possibly many more, that we have evolved through these other different creatures, and these different DNAs that we bridged off of became dormant or no longer needed once we bridged from one state of existence to the next. So let that make sense to you. Now, it's my position that these land masses in themselves, you can see, I don't know why nobody ever saw this before, or nobody actually never brought it up. Maybe because people are afraid to. They may say, wow, that looks strange, or that looks strange. Well, it's my position that the creatures that once existed in here, in the ocean, they carved and made patterns in these land masses before they evolved onto land. And the ideas and the concept about this is that everybody has this idea of this higher power. And what they are telling you is that they evolved from one state of being, from that in the water, to another state of being. And what state of beings did they evolve into from the water? So they're saying, because we all know that there's fish and there's oceanic creatures which is in the water. They're saying that we evolved from the ocean, from these creatures of the ocean, into the forms of mankind. And they do this by showing shapes. It's always been my position that pictures is the intergalactic or universal or stellar form of communication, which we all translate and communicate who we are, once we were, and what we came from. Here you go, back. Let me put that slide again. So what's happening here is that it's saying from the ocean came images of mankind. So you come over here to the Red Sea, and what you see here in the Red Sea is you see a perfect image of a woman's body, almost in like a skirt or something. Here's the thinner part of the Red Sea down here where the mouth is. This is actually where her legs are. Then you go up here. This is where her knees and her form of her body is. Here's her buttocks right here. Here's her buttocks. Here's her bosom area here. And her arm could be folded back over on her shoulder, but this is a bosom area. Here's her head, and it appears that she has what appears to be 2 antennae, or possibly snakes coming off of her head, like in the sense of the Medusa image. So if you Google this, images of the Red Sea, just Google images of the Red Sea, you will see that this is exactly as I described, the image of a woman. Now, you come over here to the Gulf, to the Persian Gulf. Again, facing this woman is a child, right here, seemingly holding something in his hand. What? I don't know, but it's a child. What is a child doing there? The child is on the beak of a pelican or a stork. And it's crazy because this is the poster child for how children come into the world. They show a stork or a stork delivering a child. This child here, there's his head, and beside the way, 2 people, he has, if you Google some of the better images, I have them up here, he has 2 antennae on the top of his head, like the antennae that are here. But his come around and have little balls on them. So this is very unique. Here's his little arms, and there's him holding something. Here's the bottom jaw part of the stork, or the stork, right here. And this is the beak. Then it's crazy because it also, when it goes out and go larger, it's a trunk of an elephant nose. But hold on, just bear with me because I'm going a little far left for you. I know that already. But if you look at this, where I'm describing the beak of the stork right here, or the stork, whatever you want to call him, it comes around and his neck curves and comes back and gives it into the breast of the bird, like we could see how a stork does. Look, and the wing area here. So how do we get the identical image of a bird that is consistent with our ancient our myths, or how storks or birds deliver babies, and then you have the image of a child sitting on that bird's beak facing a woman? Now I'm going to go into other images. Do we want to go this way, or are we going forward? Let me see. I don't know if we're going forward. Okay, here's a little close-up image of that without no highlights on it. Look at this. The bird, as I described, the exact neck, the way the neck goes off, the bottom jawline of this bird, you can even see what would be a mouth. I got highlights, better highlights than this, 2 people, because I made my marks. And I'm telling you that this is a bird. The Persian Gulf is that of a stork, a bird, with a child on its beak, facing that of a woman, which is that of the Red Sea. Now, stop for a minute, Jerome. We have this mythical story. And by the way, yes, I do call the Bible as being mythical, because if you want to believe that the stories, the ancient Roman Greek gods and the ancient Roman Hercules and all of these other stories of like Africa, where they have this mythology talking about these once existences, half men, half fish, half animal, half fish, and all of that. If you want to say, okay, then that is myth, then everything in the Bible you have to say is myth too, because there has never been no one around that transcended through time that can corroborate that this stuff ever existed, what actually occurred in the Bible. A lot of the things that they say that happened, like the parting of the Red Sea for one, if it happened back then it should be happening now. If someone had enough powers, or if there was a sense of that happening, or with tablets being sent down from God and the 10 Commandments and all of that stuff there, it has to be all said to be myth, because it is unprovable facts. Okay, so that's where I'm at with that. There's no scientific backing behind none of the writings that are in the Bible. So that's where I'm at this, saying that the Bible, it must be described as in the sense of being mythical, as in everything else in our world. If they have no problem, scientists doesn't have no problem, and religious leaders don't have no problem with calling ancient Egypt, ancient Africa, or ancient China, or ancient anything of our world all mythic, because it's unprovable by science, then I feel the same way about religion and about the Bible. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Now, let's go back here. Again, you have the shape, a full shape of a woman. Look, people. There's her narrow waist. Here's her butt. Here's her knees area. Here's her legs. Here's her bosom and chest area. Here's her head. And again, if you want to give her a headwear she's wearing, and then antennae coming off the top of her head. Okay? All of these images, I guarantee you, if you were to Google, let me make sure that this guy is having to open this up. If you wanted to look into the ancient mythology or whatever of Africa or ancient Egypt or in that Middle East area, I bet you that somewhere along the lines you will have these things, these images pop up where birds and with women, ancient Greek gods, or I mean not Greek gods, but Egyptian gods, and I bet you that you can come up with images that will mirror the reflection of what is here. I'm telling you people that these are carvings. Look closely at them. They are man-made carvings, which actually shows a consistency with how man evolved out of water. And that's why you have the image of a woman, you have the image of a child, and you have an image of a bird. Now, again, people, it's describing how the image of mankind came from the sea. And it's saying how we did it. We were lifted by what? The same mythical stories of the bird, of how they say the bird, the stork, delivered the baby. It's showing you through the bird, not the stork. You know what, the stork, you have to look at the ancient history, the long history of where the stork came from. Where did that creature come from? Ancient dinosaur. Showing you that there was a genetic bridge from the ocean onto land through these creatures. And that's why you see this image of a bird, the baby on its beak, and then you see this woman. Again, the body of woman is the birthing canal, the vessel of all human beings. The female is the birthing canal of all human beings. What's wrong, baby? Huh? What you got? Here. Here. Okay. Is the birthing canal of all women. Of all beings. Where the woman come from is describing from the ocean. And this can be seen from space. Alright? See my other videos too, people. Where my arrows at here? I gotta keep it. Oh, I hate when I do that. Okay, I'm gonna go into another image and show you here a close-up. Here's a close-up of that baby figure. This is the top of the woman's head over here. This will be her face area here. Okay, and here's her antennae there. And look at the child holding something. Here's the child, and look at the child's antennae on top of his head right there. And they come over into bulbs and turn around like antennas. Just like you would see on a creature, antennas. Now check this out. The child's face, you can imagine being right in here. Here's his little arms holding something. And this is all carvings in water now, people. And then here's the head of the bird that I told you about. Look at how the neck and all curves around that corner. Look. And creates a fine image of that of what I described. A child sitting on the nose of a stork facing a woman. Alright, how come my arrows are not coming up here to take me into the next picture? Oh, there they go, there. Okay, there's the image again. Let me go into another one. I got to get through all of these images. Now, you see this image here? I have to turn it. I don't know why it's turned sideways. But anyway, I have it highlighted here, and I got it turned sideways. But I'm going to have to go into another one. I hope I have it upright. Oh, there you go. I have it upright. I drew it out for you here. Might have to come in closer. I draw the image of the woman there. Look how I utilize very little lines to lend to the imagination of what is actually there. Look at this perfect woman's body. I gave her a skirt, just drew a line across to highlight a skirting. Here's her legs. Here's her buttocks. This is the curvature coming across the front of her, her waistline. I gave her this arm. I put her face there, and then I gave her a hoodie type garment over top of her head, but she could actually even have an elongated head with these antennae on it. However, I gave a hoodie with the antenna on her to give the realistic look of being of what a woman is. And there's her face. Look at this. And this is all in the Jordan. Now, I'm going to go back over to the bird part here. You can see the bird. I drew out the stork's chin. I put a line in here. Look at the lips. All of this is consistent with where the bird is at. Even the eye. Where the eyes, I have the eye at, there's a little island there. where this bird's neck comes around and goes right there and goes back around, there's an island right there where I just drew around the island and created the eye of the bird. And then there's a child on the bird's head there. Now, what is this other stuff? Well, in all of this that I can see and that I can imagine, going into the bird's neck, I see a horn. The horn of what? A triceratops. I can see the whole area of Saudi Arabia being the head of a triceratops. And even between right here on top of the baby's head is another horn. And you can see that this is the shape, the head of that of a triceratops. Now, I found something consistent with this, and I have other drawings and I have other things that are back in my earlier archive of images, which I could put together before, another time. Now, by the way, too, people, I can make a wonderful book out of all of this, and I can put stuff together that will absolutely blow you away. But you know what's good about what I'm finding is that it fills in all of the missing gaps of how mankind was created, where we came from, and why there are all these gray areas in the history of all of that, of everything ancient. All of everything that I'm discussing here fills in all of the gaps of who we truly are. Because the triceratops, these horned creatures, described how there was horned beings in the existence of mankind. Man with horns, man with half bodies of that, with hooves on his foot. All of this is a description of how we genetically evolved through these ancient creatures onto land. Which, again, people, makes sense because you know why? All of these ancient existences, which were in the water of our land, of the water of our planet, and on the land of our planet, are all here first, before man even came here. So it is only naturally that these creatures evolved into what we are today. And the reason why no one never seen it is because you were blindsided, or you were stooped or made stupid from the fact of the matter that they wanted you to believe that you miraculously appeared on this planet when you had intelligent existences already here that put us onto this planet. All right, what do you want here? Come on. Come on. Come on up here with me. So the problem that we have here is that we existed on this planet through these dinosaurs. And again, I refer to, look at the ancient Inca burial stones in Peru, where they have these dinosaurs on the balls of these on the stones, and I call those Peruvian burial stones. You know what I call them? They're in the shape of dinosaur eggs, and then they have dinosaurs on them. You know why that is? It's because they were smart. They buried those stones because no one else could figure it out, people. But how did I know that those ancient Peruvian burial stones were in the shapes of dinosaur eggs and its exact size? And then they have the images of dinosaurs on them. You know why? Because they're saying that through the egg, through the yolk of dinosaur, came the likenesses of mankind. And then when you look at those, just Google the burial stones. Then when you Google the burial stones, you see these people on there, the ancient Peruvians, on the stones with dinosaurs, doing all of these different things with the dinosaurs. And then you know what's really shocking is that they make themselves in the likeness, their faces and all look just like the dinosaurs. You know why? Because they're saying that we genetically came from these creatures over billions and billions and millions of years. The dinosaurs transformed into what we are today. That's what they're telling you on these burial stones. Then if you want to go over to ancient Angkor Wat, you have the Triceratops on the... Here, baby, you're going to have to go back in there because I got to finish this video. All right? Here. You're going to have to go back in there. Here you go. Here. You have ancient Angkor Wat. You have a Triceratops in a circle of DNA. And you have, if you look to the top and at the bottom, you have creatures that morph, or should I say, evolve from this genetic the DNA. This baby's gonna mess up my good video here. And what ended up happening from that is that it's showing you hoofed creatures down at the bottom that look like a centaur or a mentor, or whatever you want to call them things. And then on top of that, he's gonna mess up my video. I know it. Come on. You're going to mess my video up, baby. You're going to mess my video up. Here. Hold on. Here, play with this. You have these people that are, I mean, they're showing you that we evolved from these creatures. They're not saying that they existed. Everybody knows that mankind didn't exist along the dinosaurs or ancient. They're describing the ancient history of how they actually evolved through the dinosaur to become who they are. So they're showing you it's genetic charts that are on these ancient buildings, Angkor Wat, and then the ancient charts are on the ancient Peruvian burial stones. It's the same exact thing here. I also found the same message boards on ancient sea stacks. Look at my videos that are here. All the ancient sea stacks are actually carvings that show which creatures that we evolved out of the ocean through, onto land through dinosaurs, and into becoming who we are today. It's a blueprint that I found, and I'm revealing it to the world. Again, with these carvings, I know how they got there, when they got there, and who made them, and what they're describing. You know why I can show this? It's because of the fact, people, because I know who we are and how we truly came into the world. So when you have the story, go back to the biblical story or the myth of how Moses parted the Red Sea, Moses is talking about how he parted the genetics that came from the Red Sea onto land, and he intervened into them. What Moses did, you know what the cross means? The cross means the cross-referencing of mankind DNA. If you were to ask any religious leader, they'll say it's just a given. I know that the cross stands for the cross-referencing of mankind's genes and mankind's being. So everything dealing with the Bible is talking about genetics and genetic manipulation and the cross-contamination of mankind's genes. That point blank. So Moses is talking about parting the Red Sea. Well, this is a woman. He's talking about genetic intervention. He's talking about this region, how Moses, just like the ancient tale about Jesus, they are talking about how they made a genetic contribution and a genetic change and a genetic contamination of mankind's being. So the true story of Moses with regards to the parting of the Red Sea, I understand it and I can describe it just like I can describe what Moses is describing when he's talking about receiving the 10 Commandments or the 2 stone tablets on top of Mount Sinai. Again, I'm going to give you something that you never heard before real quick, but I'm not going to go into the story because I want to put that into another video. I want to give you something real quick about that. I'm Moses. I'm going up to Mount Sinai. I get 2 stone tablets. Stop. When you go to the pharmacy or you get a prescription from your doctor to go to a pharmacy to pick up, what are you going there to pick up? You're going there to pick up pills. You're going there to pick up tablets, something to make you feel better, or something to do a change to your body, to counter a change, a genetic change of what's in your body. So Moses is going to get 2 stone tablets. These stone tablets, the reason why they're stone and it's describing, so you guys don't understand it, not because of that time and they were chipping on it like they were Fred Flintstone or something like that there. Meaning stone, meaning that these tablets were the tablets, the ultimate tablets, like the super pill that changes everything genetically, meaning it was written in stone, meaning it would be forever, a forever lasting change. That's the reason why it's described in this way. They took something, and I know what the tablets, I'm going to tell it in my other video, so I'm not going to tell it now, what the tablets actually represent. Now, Moses given the tablets with instructions. 10 instructions on the list of what to do. When you go to your pharmacy and your pharmacist give you these bottles of pills that you come back down with, these tablets, these capsules or pills in there, he's giving you these tablets. Same thing, tablets, pills. And when you look at your pill bottle, it has a list of instructions of things to do, not to do, what to eat and what not to eat. People, it's the same identical scenario. The same identical scenario. Moses went up to Mount Sinai and got a prescription. A prescription which he genetically was altered And he came back down to the people to genetically alter them. If you read this Bible in the sense of that, it certainly makes sense to you. And then look at the passages that these people made, Moses, Jesus, and many others, and all of the things that they're talking about doing, like the washing of the feet and all of this down the line. If you look at it, it is talking about implications, not just of sexual implications, but many other things, which is talking about the altering of mankind's genetic being. All right, now I'm going to keep going. These are all drawings. Jordan. If you look at Jordan, you think you see it, got it drawn up there. That Jordan is the perfect shape. Okay, I said that Saudi Arabia was the head of a looking like a rhino or a triceratops. Look. So right at the back, in the midsection of this triceratops, this head, there's a penis back here, which is Jordan. If you look at Jordan, the shape of Jordan, it describes a penis. There's testicles, and then there's a shaft right there. The shape of Jordan from off this creature that I just described here. Now, remind you that there's a woman right here. One of her antennae is over here touching the penis, which I'm describing that as Jordan. Now check this out. Coming out of Jordan, immediately, let's just say this is a flow of semen. Just imagine with me. I know it sounds bizarre, but when you look at the map, when you pull up the map, you're going to say, this guy's on to something. Let's just imagine that flowing from out of this penis is semen, an Iraq. The entire shape of Iraq is the shape of another creature, which I'm describing and seeing as being the body of an ape right here. And there's his face, there's his head, and there's his arm reaching forward to the child over here. So you have a circle around here of a bunch of drawings, which is describing an ancient triceratops slash rhinoceros with a woman, with a penis, with an ape, with a child, and with a seagull or a stork, all on what is seemingly described here as a little shaft, or one of those little what do you call those things like a dinghy I'm going to have one up here. I'm going to bring it to you. But you have this bird and this woman look like they're on a seesaw. They look like a seesaw, but those boats that they ride on in Egypt, right there, showing you a bridge, a genetic bridge in a circle between all of this right here, what I am describing. Now I'm going to keep going because I'm going to run out of time here, and I don't want to run out of time. All right, let me go up here. Where was I at? Okay, here. For all of you that think that this is, I want to add something to the picture now. Now to turn the picture sideways. Now look at Turkey. I gotta make this small again. I got it too wide. I gotta check on this baby because he's too quiet. I like for him to make noise. Okay, he's okay. Okay, look at Turkey. Turkey is in the shape of a monk in a robe. The entire continent, or the area of Turkey, the landmass of Turkey. You can look at the few lines that I'll only put a total of about maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I say, let's go with about 30 lines. And there is a perfect image of a woman figure with a hood holding a flower going off on her hand. And I'm going to have these pictures in a slide video too. And there's her other arm. And she's looking over towards Egypt. And here's her face. The entire continent, I don't know if that wouldn't be considered a continent. I would have had. The entire area, I'm just like the landmass of Turkey and the boundary lines all create in the Middle East a figure of something else. Syria is the head of another person there. If you turn Syria around, there's a nose and there's a mouth. It's the same thing. This whole entire landmass, the boundary lines and the water lines create the image of something else, showing you it's a genetic map, a genetic grail, describing everything of which I am actually saying. What do you want, baby? I'm going to give you something else to play with. Here, take that. I gotta keep handing the little guy something to play with here. All right. Are we still going? All right. There go my arrow right there. Okay. So look at Turkey. I'm gonna have these images on the slideshow. Am I out now? Did I go through all of them? I think I went through all of them. So now I got to go to something else here. Let me make sure I got them all. All right, that's got them all. I have to go to inbox and get us something else. That's 8 attachments there. I got to remember that. Where we at here? What's in there? Okay, I showed you that, so I don't need that. So let me click out of that because I don't need it. I showed you that there. What is this? This is 20 attachments. Okay, here we go here. Zayden, let me get through this good video. This is a good video, Zayden. Alright, here's a larger image of that, and I'm going to let you look at that for 1 minute. Let me give him something else. Alright, I'm trying to figure out what to give you here. Here. Boy, you was interrupting a great video. You hear it? Where's your baba at? You emptied it out already? Here, you got your bottle here. Look at these images close up. Sorry about that, folks. Look at this. This is a larger image of that. Look at how this doesn't look right. Look at the, oh, okay, you can't see down there. Look at the landmass. I gotta back up a little bit. Look at this, people. This is a work of art. The body of a woman, the body of a child, the body of a bird, and then the ruffles here. Now, it gets better because right here, which this is looking like a barge that they are on, one of those Egyptian boats I call them. There's a bird would be on one end of the boat, the woman standing on the tip of the other end of the boat over here. The bird is over here. Now there's actually paintings in ancient from found in ancient tombs of similar images with the birds on the boat with the people set on the opposite ends, and this is what this is actually showing. The same exact thing. Now, also, if you look closely, that this end of the boat that I'm describing, or that it actually creates, if you want to get wild in imagination, this actually creates the head of a croc. She's standing on the head of a croc there. And on this end, this is the body of an elephant. And where the stork, what I told you, where the bird nose, the bird body come down with a feather, it turns into the body and head of an elephant, which I have drawn out too, by the way, people. Okay, you don't even see the head? Yeah. This turns into the trunk of an elephant coming around. Showing you these genetic changes, this bridge. From out of the water onto land, and look, from animals. Look, here's the water. We all know that fish is in the water. Coming out, throwing you, and again, remember all of those different areas of stone areas of elephants. There goes sea stacks in the shapes of elephants all around our world. And here I'm describing here, there is an elephant, the trunk of an elephant in India. What is it? What is their main mascot? The main creature that they worship? Elephant. Here's an elephant news with a bird coming out off of his trunk, which happens to be a Stork, and then the image of man, showing you these creatures bridged out of the water. And I'm not talking about just the elephant. I'm talking about the ancient ancestry of the elephant, going back to the woolly mammoths and all of these other creatures that these creatures bridged off of, which calls for the existence of mankind. Then on this side, you got the reptile, which is described as the crocodile. Reptilians. Showing you again this bridge, a cyclination of these genes, which calls for how mankind was created, a grail, if you will. See my other videos. All right, what do we have here? Let me keep going, because I got some of these things highlight. There goes. I got this image up here again. You're seeing that. All right, again, there's the head of the stork, which I now describe as could be also the trunk of a elephant. Showing you a consistent pattern of that. And when I show you paintings that are consistent with it, this is going to blow you away. Here's Jordan. Again, I'm showing you that this is shaped. If you have the imagination, imagine being a penis. And then it has a keyway out of here where you would actually imagine that being the actually opening of the penis. Why in the world do you have Jordan shaped in this shape of this being the testicles coming around? All right, the trunk coming around to the trunk of the penis. Look, shape showing like a penis coming up, and then come down, and then there's a little key come out of it, a keyway, like a key, where the opening of the penis would be, showing you. So why would Jordan be, the boundary lines be in this shape of everything I just described? I wonder if you look at a triceratops, or if you look at a ancient, if you look at a rhino or that type of creature, if their penises are actually just like this. I mean, I just can't help but wonder. You know what I mean? But that's shaped just like a penis, describing everything I just said. Here I have the elephant drawn out, and the trunk of the nose of the elephant. All right? Where the Stork was, the Stork is still there. So you actually have the elephant's head, I drew on eye. So you have the bird of the Stork growing out of the elephant's nose, and then into a form of a child, and the elephant is bridged out of the sea. I even put one of those mattings on his back, because the land comes up and it actually creates that impression as if one of these is on the elephant's back. Okay, and now you have the elephant here. I have the croc over here, and have it like there's a landmass. I got a an egg in the croc's mouth, and then you have the woman right there. I have the woman drawn. Look at that, people. All right, I'm going to keep going because it gets better. I'm going to keep getting through these images. I'm going to have to delete this after I come out of it. I got, how many images is up here? Did it go? And how many minutes do I have left? Okay, we're doing, okay. Okay, there it is without my highlights. Look at that. These are carvings. This is artwork. Even this over here, if you look closely at it, you can tell that this is not natural. The way that this land cuts in here. If you start looking at this stuff for really what it's worth, these are nothing more. Our ancestors were on it. And keep in mind, people, that, you know, they talk about ancient giants, about our ancestors being giants, and they even found the bones. You know why they were giants, people? Because we evolved from the creatures that were giants of our planet, which was in the ocean and which was on land, which were the dinosaurs. This is the reason why our beings were giant. So to us, this is something that is unimaginable because it's on a megalithic scale. But when you keep in mind of the creatures that we evolved from through this intelligence that I'm describing, this is all possible and plausible. Because they evolved out of the ocean, and they cut these channels and made and say, look, this is God's. This is what we evolved into. Look at the pretty beings that we evolved out of the sea from fish into these creatures, which is now called mankind. This video is going to be good. This video is going to be good. Zayden, if you mess up my good video, I can't do nothing about it. Nothing, not a thing about it here. But love you still. So grab your bottle and chill. Here. Grab your bottle and chill. Here you go. Grab your bottle, baby. Daddy loves you. Relax and take it easy. Here, play with that. Here. I'm going to put you in your what's going in a minute. Play with that. There you go. I don't think he's going to let me get through this video. We're going to try it, though. I'm going to keep it going. All right, there's some highlights that I made there of the Stork. I'm going to have to put him in his walker. Look at that Stork there for a minute. I'm going to have to get through this. Here, I'm going to put you in your walker. All right, here. After this, you're going to get washed up and you're going to bed. You're interrupting a good video. I can't put that up there. All right, now take it easy and relax. I'm not making this video over. All right. You see the Storks there? Look at that with the child on top of it. Look at that. Look at the bird's mouth. Look at the eye. Look at this. Now I'm going to go to this side. Look there. Where are you trying to go? You can't get my wand that I got in my hand. Okay, come on to over here. All right. He's trying to get my pointer now. All right, I'm going to go again. It's kind of warm in here, Zayden. That might be what's bothering you. Let me keep going. Hold on, Zayden. All right, there's that Jordan looking like a penis again. All right, what do we got here? Where's your pacifier at? Here, take this. Here, take this. Here. All right. There's that penis looking thing again, a Jordan. Okay. Now I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna have to let this video It's 39. I still got some minutes here. Let me click. Oh, wow. Did I just stop the video? No, it's still recording. Zayden, you got to cut it out. Here, play with this. Here. Remember when I said that Iraq was in the shape of a monkey? People, look at this. Look at this here, Iraq. This is the perfect picture. In fact, I got to keep this one in. Look at how Iraq right here. I can look the line, right there. This is the head of a monkey. Look. The entire Iraq is just the head of an ape. So, and then you have Saudi Arabia in the shape of a triceratops head. Iraq in the shape of a monkey's head. And then back here, Jordan in the shape of a penis. Then you got the Red Sea in the shape of a woman. Look, all of these things are going on. Now, I ain't figured out Iran yet, but we're going to get to it. But I got one coming up of Africa, okay? And then got Turkey up here in the shape of a monk, or a woman with a hooded woman. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Okay, here's Turkey again here. Look at this. Turkey is in the shape of a woman, a robed woman. There's her arms. She's holding the flower coming up. I can't even see the names of the little countries that are in there. However, it's a woman with her head up. And again, people, I'm gonna have these these images in the slide. When you see them in the slide, and the way I'm talking to you now, you will see what I see. This is too much here to be ignored. In other words, too much, way too much. It's one of those deals where you're gonna say like, yeah, you're onto something here because there are too many shapes here. All right, now my phone is going off. Okay, I'm done with these. So how many are here? I'm going to delete this so I don't have to go back into this again. So we're going to delete that. Okay, now what's the next one here? So I can keep going through this. I'm not canceling this video. This video is too good, even with the interruption from my son back there. Yeah. Okay, these are the side-by-side ones. Can I get this? No, they're not side-by-side. All right, I'm going to go back since I got it here, I don't know why I got it here. Again, there's Turkey. Look at this. A person with their head up, Turkey. I put the lips on there. I exaggerated. The lips are actually there, but I exaggerate and put lipstick and all that. There's the nose, there's the eye, there's the hood. And here, people, there's a flower. There's Turkey showing you that all of the genes from this is what it's showing you, this bridge. Now check this out. Everything that I described here in this genetic cyclation, here is showing you that Turkey takes these genes and the flower is passed off to this other country here, which is actually separate from Turkey. And it's showing you that it's passed off in the form of a flower, of genes, passed over. Taken here, the cocktail, a cauldron, and it's passed off. Showing you that there's a map, that these maps are showing you that there is something going on here, which is showing you genetics in motion. I can take this is nothing less, people, than if you were to go in and have a blood test taken, or have a DNA test taken, or a paternity test taken, and they take the strands, and based on the strands that you have, showing you who you genetically are. The same exact thing. So this is what this is describing here as well too. From the ancient world of our ancestors, which evolved out of the sea onto land, and through land, they described everything that they were going through, because they knew that at some point or another, people were going to come along and they were going to take and try to erase history, which they did. What's wrong with you, huh? Which they did. Let me give you a bottle. Here, take your baba. Take your baba. Here. Which they did, and gave you the nonsense that you now have, which is called the Bible and religion. They erased the true history of who we were and the animals that we evolved through, and gave us this, and gave you religion. And this is the true reality of where you came from. If you don't believe it, look at the rest of my videos, people, because my video fills in the missing gaps of everything. What's the time here? Oh, we still got some minutes here. Again, here's a close-up of Turkey, the flower, and all of that up there. Look at that. I'm going to show you. Holding the flower. My phone is going off. My kid is behind me, going crazy. My kid is behind me going mad. Let me see if I have... Come on, why are you making all that noise? You're not getting my pointer. Here. All right, take that. That'll hold you over. Let me I got to put my pointer up because he wants my pointer. All right. So I won't use that no more. All right, now look at that. I mean, a flower. What did you do? Your bottle down here? All right, here. This video is still going to be good. I know that already. Now I got to go into some other images that I have. This is the end here. Again, look at the bird. Okay, which is still the elephant. Now, remember this yacht-like thing here, because I think I have my other pictures that's going to come up is going to describe all of that. But look at this. I described to you about 6 or 7 different creatures that are all here, that are all being described here, and it's all in my other discoveries, people, that shows how man evolved out of water. The whole thing, all describing the same exact thing. Yeah, you're going to bed after this. Oh, trust me, you're going to bed after this, because you don't make no noise when me and you sitting here alone, and now when I'm deciding to making a good video, here you go. Yeah, so we got to put you to bed after this. I'm going to wash you up and put you to bed. All right, that's good. I'm going to go into the next I'm going to go into the next thing here. Let's click out of this. I got to go to work tomorrow, so I'm going to delete that. How come it didn't? Okay, did it delete? No, it didn't delete. I still got a few minutes. I'm going to get through this last description of, okay, we got one more to go through. And I'm going to show you. I hope this is all the Egypt. Okay, here. Here's the continent of Africa right here. Look at this. People, now why in the world is this looking? You want another one? Here. Why in the world is that you can see? Everybody knows that there's something going on here with Africa, and this is a horn of Africa. Okay, there's a horn, and then you got something over here. Look at this. There's a chin, there's a nose, there's a mouth, there's a lip here, bottom lip, and top lip, all that stuff here. There's a nose, there's a horn, and this is a head, and it almost consistent with the headwear that Africans wear, or an elongated head skull. We're finding elongated heads, skulls all around the world. Our elongated skull. But then and again, on the back of this, to me, this is in the shape of a dinosaur. So you got a dinosaur's head, and you have the head of a being. Now, we all know that dinosaur had horns. There was horned dinosaurs. So now you have a figure over here with a man or a woman with a horn on their head. Right there. So Africa, they describe as a woman. So this is a woman. And then you have this in the description of a lizard or a dinosaur. Here. Alright, there you go. Alright, so people, now I'm going to show you, I have it drawn out what I have here. Again, I'm going to put you know what, I erased these. Oh, I still have them in my other computer that I'm on. Look, I just drew this up just to give you just an idea, just a fancy idea. Now, I eliminated the dinosaur, which I do have it, but I just gave it hair. I gave this creature hair. Gave it the horn, gave it an eye, there's the nose, there's a lip, and look, with very few lines, you have the image of a being. Now, it gets better because this being is looking down towards Madagascar, and if you look closely at Madagascar in the same image here, Madagascar has a person that looks like it's actually, like it's a teacher or a professor that's actually giving that information to, what do you want? Boy, you better stop it. You're being funny now. Here. You're being real funny. All right. It has a face, has a scholar's cap on it, and in the robe, and it's like it's handing this something. If you look at Madagascar in this sense, the exact way that I have this up here, this here is facing down towards Madagascar, like if there's been a communication between two lands. Yeah, let me put these down here for you so you can get them yourself. All right, there you go. I think that'll do it. You almost ate a whole can too today, by the way. So check that out, people. Now I have other highlights, so let me keep going. Here it is here. Look at that. How in the world can I do that? Here's like a person here. Almost like a Merlin character. Merlin. Let's call this person here Merlin. All right, because that's in mythology, the Merlin, the giants, and all of that. Okay, a Merlin figures on an island. Okay, showing you that there's a genetic exchange. And all this, imagine, can be seen from space. So you have an image of a man here, which seems to be in a robe, and he's right there, almost looking like a clerical, a clergy figure, or whatever you want to call, and in a robe, something in the hand faced out towards Africa, and Africa's looking back at this, saying, "Hey, listen, there's something going on between these two land masses, and this is what it is, showing us that through the body of the lizard, the dinosaur. Look, all I did was just add a mouth. This is in the shape of this already. I can go back to the other. All I did was just add the mouth line, which is already there, and it's in the boundary lines. And I put the eye there and an eyebrow, and the rest of that is already there. You have the shape of a dinosaur's head or a lizard's head, which is a reptile, which I'm saying that we evolved from. Africans evolved from reptiles into Africans. If you think about it, their skin, that black skin and all of that, coming from the green of the reptiles or the gray of the reptiles into black skin. Okay, and I know how they reinvented themselves and the rest of the world into becoming Caucasians. I know how that was done. And this is my other part of my discovery that I've been discussing. You can turn yourself white, but you can't turn yourself black. So they're evolving from that of these lizards through to black and to white. If you look at Caucasians, this is another main part of my discovery, is that Caucasians are recently created people. They look fresh. They green eyes, the blue eyes, all things that have done through reinventing of themselves, which reptiles reinvented themselves into blacks, which blacks reinvented themselves into Egyptians and more fair colored beings and existences, Chinese and Asians, and then into Caucasians. And this is what I'm trying to tell you, people, that there is a blueprint that is available for all of this. All right, here. All right, there. There's a blueprint which is describing all of this, and it's on a much larger scale, which can be described through things that can't be hidden. Look at my other videos regarding sea stacks. I'm doing the same exact thing that I'm doing here with sea stacks. You know why? Because these land masses were created by the creatures that evolved onto land from the ocean. These masses, these carvings of these lands, remember all the mythical stories of how they talk about through Pangea, land masses were cut and divided? Well, this was done through our ancestors, our oceanic ancestors, which evolved out of the water. And this is where you get all these stories about Atlanteans and these water gods and all of these people they're talking about are people that actually are creatures that actually existed because we evolved out of there. Now, again, people, here's another clue to all of this, is that our planet is, the body of water is like 85 to 86 percentile of that of all water right now. Well, people, if you go back billions and billions of years, our planet is what, 5-6 billion years old, 4 they say. But if you go back, then back closer to the evolution of our planet, the beginning, then our planet would have been practically 90% to 100% all body of water. So that would mean then, people, that all creatures of our planet, including the reptiles, which were a dinosaur, all evolved out of the water, and we're coming to a point now where land was coming into existence or was pushed up through the volcanic activity, that these creatures formed onto land like you are seeing today, and like the way turtles are coming up into land and coming out and basking in the sun. This, people, is how we evolved out of the water and onto land. Now, which takes me back to something else, because this can also contribute to the extinction of our ancestors, the dinosaurs. Because with more water being on the planet back then, it would cause for more evaporation and more of an atmosphere, which would have been like an Amazon, or that of the ideal place for the dinosaurs to be, because it would have called for more oxygen, because you had more bodies of water, and it would have been so far, it would have been easier for them to breathe, because the environment would have actually supported everything that I am describing now. So as less water come onto the planet, or as it vaporize off to the planet, the dinosaurs was not able to sustain themselves no more, because their respiratories would start to fail. It's like you having a humidifier into the room or a vaporizer in a room where your child needs it because they have allergies or the air was too thick and they needed better breathing, and you kept turning it down, or you kept running out of water, and the less water they became there, the more difficult it became for them to breathe. And this is what happened to everything else in existence, as in what I'm describing. But again, if you lead it to science, because they can't visualize this, or they don't think outside of the box, or they don't have the experience and encounter that I have, they'll tell you that a meteorite crashed in, and they're trying to support that, saying, well, dinosaurs wiped out because of that. Why couldn't it? Because of the same thing that we're all discussing: global warming, or our water mass is being depleted. And with the water leaving our world and more land parts coming up, these creatures are coming out of existence. They're leaving, which would also cause for us. The more and more radiation that is given off the sun, as the sun, they say that the sun is growing in like 2 miles per day in width and in mass. As the sun gets larger, what happens? The radiation and its energy is emitted onto our world, causing for the evaporation of our water and for more deadlier sun rays to come onto our world. Sun is not good for lizards and reptiles. Only for a few hours in a controlled sense. They need more water and more. They need more of an Amazon area to be in, and that is left for our world. These massive creatures, could you imagine these massive creatures trying to look for a tree to hide under to keep out of or go in the water? I mean, they evolved onto land, and now they don't have nowhere to actually take in to stay away from these burning sun rays. They'll burn up. What we got here? I got a few minutes. I'm being totally distracted by my son, but it's okay. Here's a painting. I just want to show you something. Here's a painting, and I want to show you something with this painting. Now, this is a modern piece of artwork. Here you have a black body of a woman. Zayden, you are really killing me on this. You are really getting to me today on this one. Here. You're going right to bed after this video. Alright. You have a black woman with the head of a wolf-like, the hair showing you Egyptian, the horns, and then behind that you have a lion with the face of an alligator. People, this is almost a reality of truth, of how we were created. Because each and every ancient existence, you have such showings or such artwork which describe mankind, part human, part this, part that. This is showing you and describing a genetic cocktail of how blacks, which were once reptiles. Look at the reptile body here. I'm going to decode this artwork for you right quick. Now, this is a modern piece of art. Now, check this out. Showing you how blacks, which were once reptiles, part reptile, and this is why this is shown here in the torso, were changed through the bodies of animals, through the DNA of animals introduced into their DNA, changed them genetically, even showing the line. If you look into ancient religion and ancient royalty, the lion, they show the lions wearing the crowns. They're showing the lion. I mean, the lion is like God to them. If you notice that, protecting their mantles and all. Even in ancient Egypt, you have the sphinx, the great sphinx. All of this stuff, people. All of this stuff takes and actually lends to the here. All of this stuff all shows how the DNA of blacks was altered from being that of reptile into black, and through these bodies of these creatures, which was wolves, crocodiles, and lions, the DNA all introduced a genetic cocktail, cauldron I call it, where there came the creation of every other civilization of people, finally Caucasians. Look at Caucasians. The eyes, the hair, everything about Caucasians today, you can equate that with the eyes of animals in our world. Look at Caucasian hair. Look at Caucasian eyes. You can equate that with creatures around our world. Look at the eyes. And then on top of that, look at Caucasians in the fresh existence as they are. They are the freshest group of people that are in our world. But yet it is proven that all life forms actually came through Africa and was created through Africa. So how in the world do you have that? How in the world do you have this? What I'm describing, I'm filling in the gaps for you. That's what I'm doing. I gotta get out of this video. Here's that bird. Here's that bird right here. Remember I told you on this ark, like this vessel that they're on? Zayden, you are killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me. Here, baby. Take this. Take this. He doesn't like. He don't like me being distracted in this video. These boats. which are bent up like this. I'm going to give you a little short thing about this. You know that this is not no regular boat that nobody could be on. You know what I'm looking at that as being? The tail of a whale. The fin of a whale or the fin of a fish. Like a swordfish. Now look at, you have the stork. And you had the Egyptian character and it have the head of a bird with a red ball on it, carrying a ball of DNA. And then you have the blacks behind them. This is the same thing that I showed you with that landmass. With the, you have the bird, the stork. You have this a person looking like the bird, part bird, DNA from the bird, and then you got the blacks. The ancient Egyptians behind them here, and they're all on that same thing, like I was showing you with the with that landmass that I told you that was carved from ancient oh gosh, what was that? The Red Sea, where the woman was in the Red Sea. You know what I mean? People, that's it. I'm going to end this video there. I'm lucky I even got through this video. That's it. I'm going to end it there. All right. I'll put more in writing. Thank you.